Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by Garden State Beer Company. Garden State Beer Company in Galloway. Their motto is a beer for everyone. Call them today, 609-232-BEER. It's Happy Hour Friday. It is time for Football at 4. Adam Caplan, Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. Set to join me now as the Eagles about a week into training camp, a little longer, and a week away from the preseason opener against the Jets. And you can hear that game right here on 97.3 ESPN. The team is off today, so a little overview of what Adam Caplan has seen as his training camp tour has got underway with a stop here in Philadelphia, I assume. Adam, what's going on, man? How are you?
Mike, good to talk to you. Yeah, so how long were you away on your surprising extended vacation? Was it probably almost just a week or 2 weeks? How long were you gone for?
I left on July the 20th. I got home on August the 2nd.
Now, how long was it supposed to be?
I was supposed to get home on July the 30th. I was supposed to fly home.
It wasn't that much longer. Okay.
Yeah, it was 4 extra days.
I'm glad you guys got home. Yeah, I saw your pictures on your Facebook, man. Wow. My parents used to travel a lot when I was growing up, like go to foreign countries and all that, and I didn't get a chance to do it as a kid as much. I was jealous, man, when I'm like, wow, look at all these different places. And I love going to the ocean, as you guys were. It was awesome, man. I was like, man, I was jealous. Good for you.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm a little tired. I said today, first 2 days, yesterday and Wednesday, I was all right. Today, the jet lag got me. I mean, I got hit pretty good.
How many hours was the time difference?
Paris, Rome, and Croatia are 6 hours, and Dublin is 5.
Ahead. Now, these are ahead, right?
Yeah, they are 6 hours ahead of us. So it's really 10 o'clock at night in my head right now.
It's really hard because I did Hawaii. I was at the Pro Bowl in 2007. They were 5 hours behind us here. I think it was 5, which is weird. You know, you're getting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 because you're used to East Coast time. But going forward like that, man, that's got to be hard. It's hard to adjust. I would definitely have jet lag. Wow, it's a tough thing.
Yeah, it was. And the other people that I travel with, they all told me because they all got home on Monday. I didn't get home till Wednesday, and they all said the first 2 days they were all right. That third day was the one that kind of hit them, and I'm feeling it today, man. I was struggling at 2 o'clock today, but I'm doing all right now. I've had a couple.
Get your coffee. You're a big coffee guy.
I do drink a lot of coffee, so I'm doing all right for this football.
Well, you sound good. Yeah, you sound like you got your energy. But I know how it is doing radio. One time on a Sirius XM, something happened where I was doing my usual 4-hour shift or 3-hour shift, and for some reason someone couldn't get their equipment to go, and I had to do 8 straight hours.
Oh.
That's tough, man. You're not only running out of things to say, your voice goes. And was I hosting then? Was I in the host chair? I can't remember, but I just do remember that it was 8 straight hours. And my goodness gracious, people like you doing 4 hours a day is hard enough. It's a lot. You got to prepare. You have to know all the sports. But talking about football for 8 hours, as much as I love it, that was a challenge.
Yeah. No, that 8 hours. The only time I've ever done, I think, more than 4 or 5 hours, because I have done 5 a handful of times, but I think is when Hurricane Sandy was on, and I just had to keep us on the air until basically because we were the only station on the air at that point. So,
well, but I'm glad you're back, and the Eagles were off today, so you didn't miss a whole lot though. Although there've been some good developments in terms of you're talking locally here in Philly. I also visited the Giants, the Ravens. I was also out west. Josh and I talked about when he's filling in for you earlier this week. I was actually cool. I was with the Chargers for 2 days, and they have a great setup where not only do you get close to the field, you're on the field, they didn't have fans there one of the days, so I was able to do television from TV there, and I did an interview with Josh. Also visited the Rams, who are 15 minutes away from the Chargers. And I did the Niners yesterday. Actually, Wednesday, I took the red-eye back. And I did the Eagles again yesterday. I'm going tomorrow. So, yeah, I still have I have 3 more weeks of this, though. So I got to get my rest.
Well, rest up. Let's take a look at some of the storylines through the first 2 weeks of camp. And I think a lot of people are saying the defense is ahead of the offense, and I'm imagining that you have seen something similar. But is that so weird? I mean, is it weird to see that the defense is ahead of the offense? Is that normal?
Mike, 20 years of doing this, I cannot remember a time. I mean, I'd have to really sit down and think about this. I can't remember a time in the first week or week and a half that the defense is ahead of the offense. As a coach has told me many times, the defense knows our plays. They know our scheme. They know what we're going to do. And that's why so many teams have joint practices, because they love seeing another team that doesn't know what they're going to do. And they could practice against them and call certain plays. So, yeah, now to be clear here, the offense has had their days. They've had their – I kind of throw out the first day because it's a short practice. It was 57 minutes. I was there, and I was kind of laughing like, okay, did they get anything out of this? But, yeah, the offense has had their moments. But overall, if you were summing up every single play and everything that's happened, yes. Defense clearly had the offense. That was expected. Yesterday's practice, which I was at, I would say both sides. The heat got to everybody the last 15 to 20 minutes. It was very sloppy. But if you just take everything that's happened, Mike, overall, yes, defense clearly ahead of the offense.
When you take a look at the offense and you kind of overview some of the things that you've seen everybody saying, all right, Jalen Hurts, what kind of step forward has he taken? Is he a guy that has kind of plateaued, stay the same? Can you see improvement? How do you kind of give us an overview of what you've seen from Hurts?
Mike, seen and heard from talking to sources, yeah, I would say it's been uneven. You've seen some good, some not so good. Everyone's talking about the turnovers. Yeah, two of the turnovers were you can't have, where one I saw, he threw across his body for absolutely never should have been thrown out of bounds. See, coaches will tell you, Mike, live for the next down. Throw it out of bounds. They'll be fine with it. If you don't have it, don't throw it. And he made some ill-advised throws. It's kind of like with Carson Wentz, but different. Wentz, only because he thinks his arm strength is so dominant and he can make every single throw, that he's going to do it, Mike. But overall, it was just bad decisions, a couple bad decisions, which is not like him. Typically, the ball doesn't get there sometimes when his arm isn't good enough or he doesn't fire it. But these are just bad decisions. But overall, also telegraphing throws, being late on throws we've seen. But then, seen some really good downfield throws. He's found the really good improvement. You asked this question. He absolutely is finding his second option. He's been way better going through progressions. That is very important. That's something that not everyone sees if you're watching practice, but the stuff that I look for, and I've been told that too, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I guess everybody wants to know, all right, A.J. Brown, much better weapon for him. How are those two guys who, oddly enough, I don't know where they became best friends, but they were best friends. Who knew? But what is the connection like between Hurts and Brown?
Yeah, it's great. And, they've always wanted to work together. It sounded like they were lifelong friends. It's happened in the last 6 or 7 years, I'm told, with that. It's funny, I asked someone who would know. But, yeah, their timing has been really good. And the funny thing, and it's not a criticism of Darius Slade, and believe me, it's not. He's had a very good camp. He's one of the top 5 to 7 corners in the NFL. But Brown has gotten him a lot. Not only did I see it in the 4 or 5 practices I've been to, I've been told that privately. That Brown certainly has won more than he's lost against Slay. Here's the problem for anyone who goes up against Brown. They've not had anyone like this since Terrell Owens. Jason Avant, as great as he was as a slot receiver, it's physical. Brown's going to line up more outside than inside. Brown wins with leverage and power, unlike I've seen since Owens. And Owens didn't play like A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a different kind of physical. First of all, he's under 6'1". He's about 6 foot 7/10 of an inch. And the leverage that he gets, Mike, is so subtle. He had one play last week, and I kind of laughed because I felt so bad for Slay. He's literally right on him. Great coverage. Brown did a subtle push-off, and I'm like, how the hell did he do that? We don't have instant replay. I don't have the access that the coaches do. I went through my mind. I'm like, how did he do that? Well, he leveraged him, and this is what the guy does. And when we reported at the time of the trade that here's what the fans are going to see. One Titan source told us he wins every single route. They couldn't imagine. He rarely didn't win. And when's the last time we talked to the Football 4? You watched, Mike. You watch every single Eagles game. How many times have the receivers been finessed? They're too finessed and they got pushed off the ball. Not anymore with this kid. Not going to happen.
Yeah, that's it's funny because we were looking for who's that guy that they would throw the ball in that big moment, and they don't have that. Or 3rd down and 7, I need a first down. They didn't have that guy last year, and you wonder how much on game day that will help the development or help Hurts look better.
Well, see, here's the thing though, and I think there's a misnomer. the accuracy has little to do with the receiver getting open or not. It's about putting the ball in time. If the receiver does get open, the ball's got to be there in time. He went on time last year. That was a problem. He was late a lot, from what we're told by several sources. The tape showed it. Now, he also, as Greg Cosell told us on our show, when Greg went down his third down tape, he was very, very encouraged. Sure, he wasn't far from perfect. He saw some good things. Certainly not all bad with Hurts. We saw in the Kansas City game he was really good. But they're going to throw the ball more this year. I'm telling you that. That's going to happen. I'm not saying 10 times more. But this idea they're going to throw the ball 27 and a half times per game, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was well under 30 once we got past week 6. That's not happening. And if it is, he's not going to finish the season as a starter. They're going to be a passing team. I'm not going to be 35 and a half, 34 and a half, but it's going to be somewhere in the low 30s. If it's not, then the coaches clearly don't trust him. That's a great way. That folks, as you listen to Mike and I, the best way to evaluate him is what the play calls are. If they're running team again, they're not going anywhere. It's not going to happen.
Well, you got A.J. Brown, and then you take a look at a couple injuries at that position. Devonta Smith, Greg Ward, who's kind of we'll see what ends up happening with him. But how about Smith and what his role might be? He's missing some time with this groin.
Yeah, and I know people are making a big deal. I was told not to make a big deal about Devonta Smith's pass targets, not where Brown and Goddard are. Goddard, by the way, had a great camp.
I like that, by the way.
What's that?
I like that. Goddard, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, just the minor injuries we know and the drop passes. He's a 3-down tight end. They're going to be playing less 12 personnel, more 11, which is 3 receivers. Devonta Smith has a groin that tightened up on him. It shouldn't be long. I don't know the time frame, but it's day-to-day, as I was told. I just don't know exactly how long it'll be. Greg Will with a toe, it's going to be tough for him to make it. Deion Kane is a guy that has really shown up, who played for Sirianni in Indy. So we'll see if Ward. There's a battle. Again, it depends if they keep Mike 5 or 6 receivers. Keeping 5 is, I hate to say lock, but highly probable. But 6 is going to be tough. And the big one, Mike, when I say big, Grant Calcaterra had been a really story for the Eagles for the first 3 or 4 days of camp. Then it happened right in front of me. He popped his hamstring. We're told it's probably in the 2 or 3 week area. That sucks because he got this preseason coming. He should make the team. Not a lock. He needs to get on the field by the end of training camp here. If he doesn't, that might hurt him making it. But the other 2, which are kind of weird, like Mailata and Dillard, the top 2 left tackles, got concussions in the Tuesday practice. So, concussions, Mike, you figure they're going to miss at least a week, so that's not good. But the problem is that LaRaven Clark was the third-string left tackle, and that's obviously a downgrade. And it showed in the practice I was at yesterday. Boy, the offense was kind of struggled at times, and Hurts was trying to get the ball to this pass target, but sometimes he just didn't have any time.
Adam Caplan, Football at 4. You can check out the Inside the Birds podcasts Mondays and Thursdays. You guys are still on that schedule, right?
Oh, yeah. So we'll make our announcements for the fall. Until we sign some of these deals, we've got something going on for pregame, and we're hoping to have postgame. We'll make those announcements at the end of August. 2 years ago, we got a pregame show 1 week before the season started, so you just never know how these deals are going to go. Jeff and I own this company, so we've got the great Josh Weinfeld who's our business manager. You just never know about this stuff, Mike, as you know, when you work for radio or you own this kind of type of business. So
believe me, there's a lot of times where I don't know where I'm going either until the day before.
I know, Mike. It's really, it's been Jeff and I have been entrepreneurial with this. This is our 5th year. And we had no idea we'd be doing this, this long. We were very appreciative of you. You obviously bring us on your station, and our traffic, which has been way bigger than we ever thought it could be, and obviously Quentin Michael and Jason Ivano are great friends of ours, and they're obviously a huge part of this. We're hoping to announce some more player shows this fall. We'll have to see. But the key is that this team, for all of you listening, I could just tell you this: the roster is really good. Like I've been in I've seen 7 teams. I don't think there's a roster. Now, the crazy thing is, all 6 of the 7 teams I think could be playoff teams. I would shudder to think. I'm not a homer. I think you know that. I don't root for teams. I don't care who wins or loses. But I could tell you this roster the Eagles put together way better than last year. I'd be shocked if they're not at least a wild card. I'm willing to go on record saying that right now. I'd be shocked if they're not a wild card.
All right. Well, let's take a look at a couple other key questions overview through 2 weeks, and one is, where is Jalen Reagor in his progression? Is he a guy that's a factor on this team, or is he a guy that's fighting for a roster spot?
Yeah, just to clear up what Nick Sirianni said, and in our reporting, we put this out 2 months ago. I don't know when it was. He's not getting cut. I mean, if Sirianni's not happy with him and he wants him off the team, it's not his call. He could suggest it, and the general manager, he was personnel control, could try to trade him. But we were told by a very strong organizational source that they're not going to cut him. And I'd say this: the great thing is there's been no drama. He had a one social media issue recently, which we don't need to discuss. It was deleted, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's been quiet for him on the field. He's done a good job. In fact, he ran right through. James Bradbury has been a great story. No doubt he's been great, but Rager beat him on one-on-ones, and I know one-on-ones don't mean a whole lot, but those are the kind of things you have to do. When you go up against a first-team corner, you got to win. He has not won a lot. He's won a lot against the twos. He's been great against the twos, but the ones he's got to do better. And that was a great route. He fought him, and he beat. The big thing with him, Mike, is hand fighting. He's got to do a better job for winning. When you got to win with your hands and beat coverage, get the guy off you. You got to do that like A.J. Brown does. Devontae Smith's good at it for not the biggest guy in the world, and he's got to do a better job with it. And then he did. He did yesterday for sure.
Let's look on defense because the big boy, Jordan Davis, what are you seeing from him and how John Gannon is using him?
I could be wrong about this. I had a similar feeling, although they're obviously two different scenarios. When I saw Jordan Mailata in 2018, I could not believe what I was seeing. I didn't know that he'd be any good. I just said that if he could ever figure it out. Well, Jordan Davis is a super freak athlete like Jordan Mailata. Of course, Jordan Davis is a natural football player, with Mailata was a rugby player. Different type of football. But Jordan Davis every practice does something where you go, this. He didn't just do what I just think he did. No one who's that big could do that. He does it. Every practice, it might be 2 plays, it might be 1, it might be 4. He still needs to learn a technique that they use at this level. College technique is different than pro technique. But there's something special about this kid. I totally see why the Eagles made this trade. Obviously, they gave a lot for him. They're expecting him to be special at this level. He's got to keep his weight down. I struggle to believe he's only 340. We need to get his weight confirmed. Because, the Eagles listed Mailata, whatever he listed at. Well, he was actually 20 pounds heavier than he listed, on the what the media get.
Right.
Then he lost the weight. But anyway, Jordan Davis is fun to watch, man. I want to study him more, but I've been impressed when I've been able to see him.
All right, a couple other guys on defense that is that whole defensive line alignment. You got Graham and Sweat, and how they're going to be kind of rotated in, or is Graham going to be a full-time player? Is Sweat now, how are those two guys kind of fitting in on that defensive line rotation?
Well, okay, here's the thing. It depends what front they use. So they're going to be more multiple than they were last year. The integrity of their defense is still going to be what it was last year. It was a 3-4 with what we call 2 overhangs. And actually, Jonathan Gannon actually confirmed this without trying to. We put this out a couple weeks ago, and I don't know why he said it, but he did say that he called Reddick an overhang player. Well, that means you typically have 2 overhang players in a 34. Sweat's one of them, and Hassan Reddick's one of them, and then Graham will be would be the first guy off the bench when they do that. And then obviously Brandon could play in a 43, which he's played a majority of his career. He's played in a 34. He played in it under Billy Davis. In fact, that's what he switched to, a 34 at stand-up outside linebacker. And I got to tell you, knock on wood, Brandon's obviously one of the best guys ever. He'll go in the Eagles Hall of Fame. What he has done to come back from the Achilles is something that in your 30s, this is not supposed to happen. And I love it. And I saw Brandon about a month ago at a golf tournament. He looks great. What we had reported back in May is true. He looks exactly. I was a little skeptical of it, but it's true. He looks like he never had the injury. I find this hard to believe, but I saw it with my own eyes, and he looks great, Mike. I could tell you. They'll have a great rotation. Josh Sweat looks great. Also, Derek Barnett's part of that rotation. Obviously, they'll kind of figure that out. Now, when they go to 43, it'll probably be Sweat and Barnett, or Sweat and Graham, and then obviously Reddick will play strong side linebacker. And then you've got weak side might be White and T.J. Orridge and Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's look good. He's coming on a little bit. So the great thing about Mike is they've got all sorts of avenues, and you got to give their front office credit. The roster was underwhelming last season. I was shocked that they made the playoffs. I definitely got that wrong. I didn't see that. They got handled by Tampa. But this roster is so good, Mike. You don't want to say it's all in the quarterback, but Jonathan Gannon has a part in this. He's got to do a better job. And there are no excuses anymore. The front office, which we were highly critical of last year, no more of that. Not this time around. It's now up to the coaches to get this thing going to the next level.
The one guy, and I asked Jeff about him on Wednesday. I said, "How much of an upgrade is Bradbury over Nelson?"
Oh God!
And he just kind of laughed.
Stephen Nelson,
right? And he just kind of laughed and I hate to shortchange Nelson here, but
I know he's scrappy. Stevens, we came on our show. He's great, but we're truth tellers here. It's not even close. I mean, I don't know. Other than I know they were good, they didn't. Bradbury was not comfortable with more man coverage, and we'll see what kind of coverages they use. But I can tell you this, Mike, James Bradbury has had a great camp, and this idea that the Giants come because he can't play anymore is complete nonsense. I don't know where this stuff starts. I did read stuff. People were speculating that the Giants didn't think he could play. No, he had a big cap number. They couldn't come to. They just didn't think he'd be great in the Wink Martindale scheme. And by the way, the Texans wanted him. There were some teams involved trying to trade for him, and they couldn't come together on a contract. So the Giants had to cut him. Eagles gave him a decent contract. We're on our Monday show, Mike. We're going to give you more information on his contract. It's not out there. We've got a lot of. We're going to do a complete overview of their entire every single player we could get. We've got information on 50 players, 45, 50 players, and you're going to be some surprises on Monday's show, which came to our attention, which we were not aware of. Some guys are standing out, so make sure, folks. 6 a.m. Eastern on Monday. Listen up.
All right, Inside the Birds podcast, Monday morning. Check out InsideTheBirds.com for all the updates on the Eagles. Adam Caplan, Jeff Mosher, Andrew DeCecco here on Football at 4. And we're just getting ready for this Eagles season, which kicks off on Friday against the Jets. And you can hear that game right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Adam Caplan, where are you heading to next?
Washington, the Washington football team, the Commanders, or I call the Commandos, at their stadium tomorrow night, FedEx. Oh, yeah, Eagles tomorrow morning. And then I get on another plane, Mike. It never ends, but I love it. I'm looking forward to it.
Wouldn't have it any other way. And, of course, we wouldn't have it any other way other than having Adam Caplan on this happy hour Friday. Thank you, pal.
Thanks, man.